I just picked up my coffee. Okay, here we go. 3, 2. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, Brad Wren.
Road Atlanta is officially my least favorite track.
Ouch, David Hall.
iRacing stewards are officially my least favorite stewards.
Are there any others? William Westbrook.
Hey guys, it's the week of the best track on the service.
Conflict. On today's show, we will cover a different type of sim to reality. Could AI write commentaries of replays? Show you how to build a PC in 3D. See if a gold graphics card is on your shopping list. Which hardware manufacturer announced a pre-owned purchase option? And find out what is special about this date in iRacing.
That's right, Mike. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right. Hopefully they're not spreading themselves too thin, but there's a possibility iRacing will be picking up another title license. Apparently EA has decided not to continue working the Rallycross games. And this tweet from Sparks Sim Racing, or this is actually Instagram, isn't it? He theorizes that iRacing will probably get the license.
World Rally. I mean, that would be a great ad. I mean, you think about everything that iRacing doesn't have from the world of racing, and this is one of them. I mean, what we got is what was the American version of Rallycross, I guess you would call it, before it went defunct, So this would be a nice get for sure. Now, like you alluded to, David, would we be spreading ourselves too thin? Remember the IndyCar is still out. The IndyCar game is still outstanding, right? Like they intend to make a game, and it really hasn't been determined who's making it, right?
Do they?
All right.
Oh, go ahead, Brad.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking, is it a bad thing to acquire the studio to help, develop more of these, or the license develop, but now you got to create another. I don't know. Can you take the people that work on it too with it, or is that EA? Like EA, it was EA that's trying to get rid of the property, right? Not their whole people, right?
You gotta. It's just like always. You got a racing entity like NASCAR or IndyCar. In this case, it's World Rally. They need a game. Everyone needs a game. F1's got a game. So. Who's going to do it is really the question. Now that EA is bowed out. Now this guy, Sparks Sim Racing, he goes over a short list of who he thinks capable of doing it. He gives a couple of options, but it sounds like iRacing may be the leading option.
So, all right, I'm not a huge rally guy, but iRacing has built themselves on a multiplayer racing platform. I don't see this as being multiplayer at all. This is all single player, basically. You're not racing against anybody. You're just racing against a clock.
But it's not unprecedented. You got Mount Washington, which is exactly what this is.
You have one track.
I think the problem is, I don't know if you guys have familiarity to these rally games, but they hit their heyday back when they were doing the Ken Block Gymkhana stuff back in the day, and they were using a lot of his stuff. I don't know if, I could be totally wrong. I just don't know if there's that much of a, it'd be like Brad's saying, it's more of a time trial thing where you set a time and you're on a leaderboard. You're not really doing anything else than racing them. If you're doing, through all these different landscapes, it's tough to create a multiplayer platform other than just leaderboards.
You can't tell me there's a video game market for dirt car racing in the world of Outlaws either. I mean, but they still did it. So I see your point. It's not popular as it used to
Well.
be, but maybe they'll do it.
Especially on the American side, dirt car racing is still alive.
Oh yeah, they're very alive.
Whereas you've said it yourself, rally is defunct. I don't know. Um, you know, whatever. It's not something I think any of us is going to get too excited about. So let's move on. We had the fixed Indy 500s over the weekend, and after 500 miles, Peter Berryman has claimed the 2025 fixed top split.
Well done. That's saying something. Out of everyone in the service, who's the top split winner? And he's won it before. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I remember his name from previous years, and I believe he even had polls. So
All right, we have another Indy 500 announcement. We had a guy basically celebrate in his shower with chocolate milk for winning the 5200 strength of field.
Doug Sprouse, yeah, he wins his split. So he decides to do the milk, and yeah, like you said, 1 gallons. He's got one in each hand, and boy, he's got that little shock of cold as it hits his skin. I love it.
Those are half gallons, I believe.
I'm glad that you guys can do it with the jugs, and it'd be really hard in Canada to do it with the bags of milk.
You have bags of milk.
What?
Yeah.
Title idea: bags of milk.
even something that's even more wrong.
Brad, I'll take a picture for you for it.
That's almost as bad as pineapple on pizza.
Like at the end of the bag, do you like roll it up so you can get the last drop out of it?
Should I bring you guys a bag of milk down to the Sim Expo?
You should go get it right now and bring it down and show it on this particular video stream while it's fresh on our minds.
I could go do it.
We'll milk this topic for a little while longer.
Look, I appreciate his enthusiasm, but if you're going to do it, you got to do white milk. You can't do chocolate.
Come on.
And you're actually supposed to drink a little bit of it before you start pouring it all over yourself.
Correct. Yeah, I was going to say that too. Take a swig of it. That's the idea, and then you pour it on you as a celebration.
Yeah, he's got a lot of hair. That's going to take a while to get out.
Does it have like a coloring effect? Like
iRacing said congrats at least on the post.
All right, so we have a really close finish, it looks like, in the Grand Prix Legends. Was this a special event or just an active official series?
I think I'm not sure, but I watched this. It was this video that they put up, and it was amazing the way that the finish played out. You didn't want to be the guy leading on that final lap into 3 and 4 coming to the checker, because can you say the word sitting duck? I mean, he was totally a sitting duck. The second guy blew by him. The guy that was in third ended up winning, I believe, blowing by both of them.
I've driven those cars at one road course, and that's it. I've never tried
crazy,
to add
Greg. So you poke a hole in it and that drip, or how do you do it? Wow, that's crazy.
Okay,
for
you're not,
audio
you're not
listeners.
translating, yeah, but you apparently you clip the corner and then pour it out.
So, yeah, that just explains a lot. It really does.
Yeah, it's it's a little bit different than you guys.
Well, they call it Grand Prix Legends, but these are Lotus 49s. And again, I always wonder why I don't own this car yet. Every time there's the offline time where you can do the test drive, this is the car I end up in for some reason at the green hell. And I'm just going to buy it. I mean, it looks so much fun out there at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What's today's date, David?
It's default weather day, is what it is, or the Ides of May.
Brings us to our next X post from iRacing. They said, did you know if you leave the weather on default and let the sim pick it for you, it will choose May 15th, which is today, the day of the recording. Happy default weather day, iRacers.
So we need to get this. Do we need to get this declared as a federal holiday? Get an executive order for it?
I just wanted to be on that meeting in the past when they made that decision. You know, who was on there? It was a Dave Kamer and, Tony Gardner and Steve Myers and these guys. And they're thinking, okay, what's the most, substantial day in motorsports? And it's got to be the day of the Indy 500, which is the Monaco race, as well as the Coke 600. Why would they pick that day? Why 2 weeks prior? Any guesses?
I think it's because it's my wife's birthday. I think that's why they picked it.
Only guess would be that it's close to the Indy time, so this is when like all the practices and stuff start to happen, right? And the qualifying. When do they do their first qualifying?
This weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I can't wait to tell her that she shares a very special day with iRacing.
So
Well,
you
she's
think
probably-
it should be a holiday?
she's not watching?
Then, Brad? She'll be
I think it
watching.
should.
She's probably
Yeah.
watching on Facebook.
Happy default weather day.
All right, so we're always talking about sim racers becoming sim or real life drivers. Now we've got a different sim to reality story. How about this one, William?
Yes, so Fox Sports 1 announced their broadcast team for the races they have coming up for the car store. Is that right? Yeah, late model stock. Kevin Harvick, Dale Jr., and Eric Brennan are going to be in the booth with Blake McCandless and Caitlin Vinci.
Vinci.
I hope I didn't murder that on pit road.
Yeah, so Blake
Northwest
is a Coke driver. Yeah, Blake McCandless is a current Coke driver. He hasn't had he's a rookie in the Coke series right this year. He hasn't had I think he had one top 10 actually, but he's had a couple bad runs too. But pretty cool to see Blake get the nod to get on Fox Sports 1 here for pit road. That's a big win for him. I know he announces other short track racing where he lives, so that's pretty cool.
And it's been before in the driving in the Coke series. He was, I think, one of the primary commentators on the streams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Race is tomorrow at 8:00 on Fox Sports 1.
So, I've heard on quite a few other podcasts, especially when somebody's interviewing, say somebody like from MRN or PRN, they said one of the best ways for guys to get, if you want to be an announcer, one of the best ways to learn and to train is to do, broadcasting sim races. And there's guys that are coming up through this. There's a handful of them that have worked their way up, from doing broadcast stuff to like Blake, he's doing stuff on Flow Racing. And at some point, I mean, look, there's guys that have to fill those spots because the guys are going to retire at MRN and then PRN and whatnot. So, who's the next group coming up?
Yeah, the old the way it used to be, go volunteer at a short track. Dave Moody would recommend that a lot. But yeah, this is just like with sim racing, this is a way to get in, and there's so many opportunities, because there's so many channels. I mean, you could literally just throw up your own channel and broadcast a race if you wanted to. You don't have to invest anything in it.
And it's fun. Look, in my first 2 or 3 years of iRacing, I was involved in broadcasting. A guy named Michael D'Amico, he called it All Pro Racing. And I was the color commentator. I wasn't the lead, but I was the second announcer. And it was fun. I mean, it was fun to race the car, but it was just as fun to announce, to be that guy in the booth, to be the expert opinion, and so forth. And I got the voice for it, as you guys know. So it was fun. And I moved on to help with Rudy Cummins with his channel for a while. And look, I encourage everyone if you think it sounds fun, try it. Go find Rudy or somebody and say, "Hey, can I sit in with you for a race?" Look, these guys they're great. They'll work with you if you're interested and teach you some tricks. But you got to know about racing. You can't just be green. You got to know about how it works, and it's embedded into you, kind of thing. So you have to be a natural at it. You can kind of tell when you're not.
How do you think Harvick and Junior are going to be together in the booth there?
I think they'll be okay. They did some stuff back. I listened to Harvick was interviewing Junior today, and they actually did some commentating back some years ago. I don't remember where it was, but I think they'll be fine. Um, I think Junior's better at it than Kevin is, but I think Kevin is getting better.
I think isn't Junior better because of more of the historian facts that he's got in his head. He's
got more experience too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a seasoned broadcaster at this point.
But he's taken off a year.
One more Coke item, quick hit. Kansas at the NASCAR race. We had some NASCAR guys showing up. I see pictures here of Casey Kerwin out at the simulators. The Kansas City Pioneers have a table up where they're interviewing 4 of the Coke drivers up there, in front of the crowd, and then signatures and stuff, getting signing diecast and autographs. Looks like a pretty neat meetup.
All right, it's not Coke related, but it is another kind of sim to real story, and it's kind of maybe the best one. We have a flashback timeline of the revival of North Wilkesboro through iRacing. December 2019, Dale Earnhardt and crew cleaned up so that it can be scanned. Then in 2020, eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series goes there. And then in 2023, NASCAR's first Cup race since '96.
Yeah, this was really cool when it happened. I wasn't, back on the service at this time, but I do remember, hearing about it and reading about it, and it just what a great way to to see a track come back, but just to see the commitment. I mean, there were people that showed up just to help, and knowing that all they're going to do is scan it. But we said before is I think we need a rescan of the track, and I think we need an updated version. But this is one of those situations where I think they need to maintain the original as well.
Yeah, they got to keep both versions so they have the 2 options of racing both of them.
I remember back then in 2020 when the track came out on iRacing, that the feeling in NASCAR was these tracks are long gone. Specifically this one and the Rockingham. And now look at us. We got racing at Rockingham again. We would have never dreamed that back in 2020 that the Rockingham would ever have a race ever again, let alone North Wilkesboro. And so when Dale and them, rescue North Wilkesboro and get the scan, there's like this glimpse of, oh, maybe it'll come back. We'll have racing. And now we have the Rock.
So May 2020, that would have been in the middle of the pandemic then too, right?
Yeah.
Is it pretty sad that from December 19th to May 2023, they got the track done faster than they got the Gen 4 car done on iRacing?
Well, the Gen 4 car wasn't even originally planned to be done. It was kind of an accident. They're like, oh shit, I guess we ought to do this now.
That was just a shot at the Gen 4 car.
Well, that Pro Invitational Series, that was basically what they were using to replace the NASCAR races. So, all right. Next up, we have a report of owner abuse. We got a little domestic violence going on, don't we, Brad?
Yeah, we got an Instagram post here from Club Del Sim. It's a video of him. Looks like he's at Bathurst, and I'm guessing that's the Delara F3, maybe. Attempting to race, but his man's best friend is not too happy with him trying to race and is grabbing at it, biting at his hand and whatnot. But yeah, pretty neat, pretty funny. I feel like lock the door, leave me alone.
Well, look, he's got these long black gloves on, and the dog's getting the entire wrist or his entire arm, in his mouth. And it makes me think that the owner has used his racing gloves as, gloves to wear so the dog, to teach the dog how to bite kind of thing. Because the dog looked like he's trained to come up and clamp onto that glove.
He probably roughhouses them with the gloves on.
Yeah, that just wants a little attention.
He's not biting down. He's just, putting it in his mouth. Yeah.
Extra force feedback. I was gonna say that could be very jarring if you're in VR and not being able to see what you're getting bit by.
I'm pretty sure he's in VR too.
Is he?
Or the crazy woman coming up behind you. That's that's why I don't like VR. You don't know what's happening around you. I guess unless you lock yourself in a room.
Well, David's worried about tornadoes while he's in VR, right, David?
No, my phone will go off if that's happening. And if the tornado is actually close, I would probably lose power first. But with band directors essentially are amateur weathermen, right? So I just about know where they are as soon as the weatherman does. All right, Mike, you brought it up in the preview. Can AI write commentary for race replays?
Yeah, that's what a forum post by Benish Ladd put up. He said, hey, been thinking about how a large language model could be used to generate commentary during iRacing replays. Imagine loading up a session, and instead of just watching it back in silence or with the radio chatter, you get dynamic AI-driven commentary that picks up key moments, battles, incidents, and even strategy shifts. It could add a whole new layer of immersion for streamers or drivers reviewing their races. I like it. I think it's a great idea.
So, didn't last week we just talk about how AI can't even get the post-race reports right, though? So how are they going to do this live? I mean, eventually, yeah, it's a cool idea, but are we anywhere close?
Look, if anyone should know that there's different classes in IMSA racing and that somebody can win a class and not be the overall winner. I mean, iRacing knows this. So yeah, that was pretty bad that happened, but
they don't care.
Now AI has taken off so quick, and so many businesses are buying into it. And so I wouldn't be surprised at some point that iRacing, tries something like this.
Yeah, AI is advancing, quicker than anybody thought. So, like I said, I think eventually it's a cool idea and it will probably work, but I have no hope for the immediate future.
It makes me think: could you just take a camera TV1, a short replay of a race, a video, MP4 or something, upload the MP4 to Chat GPT, and then coach Chat that hey, I want Martin Brundle and I want the F1 announcers to announce this race.
It's gonna come someday, though. It's gonna be here soon.
Okay, let's talk Sim Gaming Expo. September 5th through the 7th up in Chicago. Use IRLP10 to save 10% on your tickets. That'll be here before you know it, and so will we.
Who's coming?
And we have a few partner announcements. I think you're watching the Discord, aren't you, Brad? Is this where you're gathering these from?
It's a combination of Discord and then also on Instagram. So do have 3 new ones this week. We got media partner announcement. Overtake, formerly Overtake GG, is the official media partner for the Sim Gaming Expo. They do a lot of good stuff. Cover all genres of sim racing and whatnot. And also we've got an exhibitor announcement: Free Aim VR shoes. So this is they're a company that is redefining immersion with their revolutionary autonomous robotic VR shoes. So you can walk naturally any direction through your favorite VR games or create hyper realistic training simulations. There's no limits. So I think I saw a video of this. It was pretty interesting looking. And then we've got a special guest, Sparks. Sparks is a passionate simulation streamer and content creator who's on a mission to make simulators accessible and fun for everyone.
So
And he was actually at the top of our topics.
I was gonna say I follow him on TikTok, and he's a huge farming simulator and trucking simulator guy, but he's also a big ambassador for Moza products. He has like almost everything from Moza. He tests for them and stuff like that. It's actually a really good follow on TikTok because he makes some really good content, and he's live a lot of the day.
I had no idea who it was. So yeah, I'm glad you know who he is. That's cool.
Yeah, neither did I.
Look, yeah, we were talking about this before the show. They're going to have stuff on here that's not sim racing related. They're going to have like the shoes that have little rollers on them, and you can walk, but you don't really walk, and like stuff like that. So there's going to be some different simulation stuff. I hope we can see some farm sim stuff or something like that. Or maybe I really want to see some flight sim stuff too.
Well, I think those 3 days for us being there, we're gonna get a lot of time to move around and see a bunch of these things and get some time with it, Mike. Like it's gonna be an eye-opening experience for all of us in the whole simming aspect, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
All right, next up we have one for the ladies. This is a post from Emma Dempsey, and it's calling for all women in sim racing. They're starting a Discord for the girls. It's going to be for beginners through pros with regular community races, practice sessions, tips, event signups, race calendars, chill chats, hype ups, and it's going to be the most fun and growing women's sim racing squad in Discord. All right, so it's a male-dominated sport, so I think things like this are a good thing.
Yeah, and I mean, in the last year or two, I mean, we've had a lot more females that seem to come in. We see more female streamers. You got females doing sim product reviews now. I welcome them. We've had women racing before groups. I remember Tony Grove's wife was involved in one for a while, and yeah, if you're female and you're out there racing, you should get involved in this and try to group up. I mean, it's always fun when you're in teams.
And that brings us to the events. William, tell us a little bit about the Indy 500 Open races.
Yep. Second week of the Indy 500. You just saw the results from the fixed setup. The Open setup starts May 13th. So actually, it was 2 days ago. Times.
Well, you have qualifying all week.
Yeah, qualifying. I'm sorry, qualifying. Sorry, and then the time slots are Saturday, and Sunday. 1300, 1700, and 1300 GMT. I mean, same thing, except obviously it's open setup instead of fixed. You still qualify the same way. Your 4-lap average, and then you get placed and you're split according to your qualifying time, just like the fix. So, I guess when did they start splitting open and fixed?
Well, look, when the IndyCar came back after their absence because we lost the license, it came back kind of abruptly, and we did them on the same week, the open and the fixed.
I think the biggest reason too, Mike, when they changed the rules for being able to, because when they first brought it back with fixed, you weren't able to do the weight jacker or the bar adjustments, and then they changed that to open that up for on the fixed side so that you could do some adjustments in that race, because you really need it for the oval races to be able to make the adjustments in car. So that I think that's when they separated, and I think this is year 2 of them doing it, if I remember correctly.
No, they didn't. That had nothing to do with them separating it. Before they lost the license, they were separate.
Yeah, it was always that way. So it was just that 1 year that when we got it back that they did it on the same week, and so now we're back to separate like it used to be. Yes.
Okay,
But
so
bringing back the weight jacker was a big bonus because it's if you know what you're doing with it, it is pretty important. I did some practice last night and with one of the sets, and it was all by itself. The set was spinning out on me, so I had to drastically adjust the weight jacket to tighten it up. But as soon as I got into traffic, I had to turn right back around and loosen it up.
Yeah, so 24 was the year they came back. And it was, I want to say it was probably maybe March when they announced it. I mean, it was a short time when it was announced last year before the actual race.
Right. That's why it ended up being the same week. It was a scheduling thing, whatever. Look, there's open qualifying times were posted this week of the Fast Five. We have Hamilton Akabuzi, Robert Malexa, Jason Brophy, Philip Kraus, Jacob Oster, 39.41s, and then 39.42s for fourth and fifth.
All right, William, we also have Nürburgring coming up.
Yep. So our next special event is Nürburgring 24-hour. It is June 6th through 8th. Standard special event time slots. D 4.0 rating. You'll be GT3 cars, the Porsche Cup car, the GT4 cars, the TCRs, and the BMW M2 for the first time this year.
What a fantastic looking poster.
It is great. Too bad I don't think I'll be driving it.
I won't either, but I love the poster.
I still don't know that track. I don't know that I ever will.
It's such a fun track. Whenever I'm looking for something to do by myself, that's the one I end up on.
All right, we do have another special event coming up, Brad. 4 hours at Thruxton.
Yep. So 4 hours at Thruxton will be end of the month, May 30th through June 1st. This will be it's a one-off TCR endurance event inspired by the legendary Spirit of British touring car race, solo or with a team. So that'll be all the normal time slots. And actually, I think this one you get the fifth time slot, which is the Sunday. Again, license is a D 4.0. And so, yeah, team event, or you can do it soloed either way.
Wow, that track is from memory. I think it's flat and it doesn't have a lot of visual markers of where the turns are. It's just like it's an old airport or something.
All right, no NIS this week, Brad. Anything else going on though in iRacing?
Outside of what we talked about, the normal events do have the Grand Prix, Vintage Grand Prix Tour is back. Be week 4 of 16. They'll be at Mugello, and then also the Prodigy Radical SR8 Cup. I talked about this, I think, last week. This will be week 4 of 7. Will take place at Okayama, and again, this is the event that you got to have a membership to. But again, you're working to qualify for an opportunity to actually win an expense paid trip to Prodigy to compete for a pro driver spot in their championship.
All right, podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they do not miss out. We would appreciate it. Get involved in the discussion on Discord over at the iRacers Lounge. And check out our show notes at the website, iRacersLounge.com. We are in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. Get your merchandise at the iRacersLounge.shop. Fantasy.
All right, so we rolled into Kansas this past week on the Cup Series. With taking the win was Race Addict with 259 points, followed second by Silver Mustang 91. Third was 2If, fourth Team Dewan, and then fifth I Am Not a Professional. So Kansas expected a fantastic race, and I wouldn't say it was a dud, but it wasn't really what I think any of us were expecting after, especially the last 2 races.
NASCAR.
Yeah, Kyle Larson pretty much dominated. Had some comers and goers as the day went on. Chase Elliott got up there and till he had his issues, and William Byron, spun, and I don't know. It's I heard some of the talk on the podcast, some of the podcasts this week that it's not so much that that Kyle is so good. It's just when he's good, everybody else just has mistakes, and he doesn't make a ton of mistakes when he's on.
It seems like people are starting to grow on Carson Hocevar. He might be somebody special.
Oh, I think he's got a ton of talent. It's just it's trying to rein it in some. When he's had a good car, it's the pit crew that's let him down. He's lost spots or they've had issues in the pits, or he overdrives the car. And I think we've said before, you can rein a guy in if a guy's got speed. It's harder the other way to get somebody to be fast if they're not naturally talented to do it. So I like the kid. He's he's rough enough to where he upsets people, and I think that's good. And it's the same thing with with Ross Chastain. And I think all of us enjoyed the Ross 2 years ago. When he was ruffling everybody's feathers and was on the I don't give a blank tour. I think it's what Door Bumper Clear was calling it. But yeah, we need some guys with some what's the word I'm looking for? So not character, but
Gusto.
yeah, it's just he's again. Look, what do we talk about? He's was Daytona. He was sim racing from his hauler, during the rain delay. Come on, you don't get any better than that.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch him come up, through the ranks and how he's doing in Cup, winning in the truck, stuff like that. So what do we got for All-Star? Who's going to practice for Larson? Is it Carl Edwards or is it Harvick or?
So JRM driver, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah, I think Allgaier is going to practice the car.
Allgaier.
Yeah. So I did read a post. I guess Larson is not going to worry about running the heats. They're just going to go ahead and start from the back since he's already locked in. So I guess he'll be at Indy this year. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Last year was the first year on the new pavement. So as normal, go to a new venue or new pavement, something like that. Joey Logano ends up with the win. Kind of ran away with it. So I don't know. It wasn't bad last year. I think the nostalgia part is very cool. Just again, this car it's just not good on the short tracks. So we'll see what happens. Cars Tour races tonight. Trucks is tomorrow night, I believe. Or is that Saturday? I don't know. I'd have to look. But yeah. So overall, coming out of Kansas, we've got TG1 Racing with the lead, 2,235 points. Followed second is Smiling Ninja. Third, Cletus, 545. Fourth is Boats and Hose. Fifth is Drake, G36.
Okay, the first item, I did actually watch the YouTube videos this time on all the VR stuff. So we have a Pimax Crystal Super update, which includes some final specs and in-depth tech and pre-order. He did indicate that they are already being built at the factory. They made a couple of design changes after a lot of their feedback from their testers. They did not like the overhead strap, so they switched back to a front to back strap, which a lot of feedback said was more comfortable. But they said that caused them to not be able to control the distance of the lenses. I forget what the term for that is. Eye inset, I think. But they're shipping them with all the different padding sizes where you can control how far the lens is from your eye. I know that helps me. I had to move it just a little bit further away so that it works better actually with my glasses. What one of the things that he boasted about is the extreme brightness of the screen, as well as the fact that the lenses are true glass and not polarized plastic mold or anything, and not a pancake shape, but an actual lens, which is supposed to provide better optics.
So my question, David, is if you're buying today, which one of these Pimaxes do you pick?
The light, because it's all I need. I don't have that much money to throw around for that expensive of a VR.
I mean, if someone has the money, is it that much of a difference between the two?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that. All right. I think Boosted will have a better
right.
input on that than I will when we cover his videos. He hasn't put one out on the Super yet, but I wouldn't be able to tell you the comparison. It's definitely a higher resolution. I think it's OLED, which provides better brightness contrast as well, and it's going to have a much bigger field of view. But the light is already got plenty of field of view. So I think I watched the 3 videos. But I believe this one, he was also talking about that it had a better eye overlap, or that may have been the Boosted Media video. I don't remember, but I think it was it. He was talking about how that you can. Yeah, it was this one. It has better overlap between the two eyes, which gives you a better sense of depth perception. So essentially the two fields of view are a little bit closer together, so that it is a better 3D effect. However, you could switch to the other option as well if you wanted. And it was a trade for some other kind of, or I think it limits your field of view a little bit if you have the really close eye overlap. So I don't know if I would justify spending the extra amount of money or not. But I mean, once somebody buying this probably might have a video card with gold laced on it as well.
Look, if I was buying I'd do the big screen Beyond 2. Remember, it's the tiny little ones that look almost like sunglasses. They're so small.
Well, since you brought it up, let's go ahead and talk that video as well. So Boosted Media did a review of that one, right? And he liked the version 1. However, the version 1 definitely had some drawbacks, and that you had to order the IPD that you wanted, and you had to get a face plate that was specifically molded to your face. So if you wanted to turn around and sell it, you can't. You're limited on your sell options because you can't adjust the interpupillary distance, or that person who's buying it is going to have to get their own custom faceplate. He also pointed out that both the version 1 and 2, that if you don't have it in the exact right spot, that it will be a little off. He did point out that even though it has a less of a field of view than the Pimax Lite, it has a better quality field of view out to where it goes. So if you're accustomed to turning your head, it's pretty handy as well. He did point out that it's certainly a lot lighter, and it's his favorite as well, but just barely over I would say, the Pimax Lite. For me, I don't get uncomfortable with the Pimax because it. I don't know if it's because I'm relatively strong, and so it just doesn't feel heavy to me. I don't even notice it's there. But he made a good point that it might be a little bit less stable if you are on VR or on a motion rig, where it might actually shake on your head and cause some visibility issues compared to the big screen. So yeah, there was a lot of really good features. The new big screen does have adjustable interpupillary distance. And he had a lot of positive things to say about it, but again, you have to order a specific faceplate for your face. Either that, there's a dome option that you can order, and you can get this headset with headphones as well. So it is definitely a good option, especially if you don't want the heavy, bulky VR choice.
See, that's what is attractive to me. Is I've always been a hard no on VR because of the weight, the heat, the size, the tethering. all those things combined, and this thing is like this a heavy pair of sunglasses. I mean, it is so small, and I really like the fact that you have to do a custom mold of your face where they 3D print this plastic thing or whatever that fits over your eyeballs and nose, but it's like it said, custom to your face, so there's no light that gets in at all, and that really makes it, I guess you need that.
As long as the fit is right. Now it's an OLED pad, whereas the Pimax is not, or the Crystal Light is not. So he thinks that it'd have slightly better blacks if you're doing like sci-fi gaming or something along those lines. It's not that big of a deal in iRacing, unless you're doing a lot of night racing. So he did point out that it would have a little bit better contrast ratio than the Crystal Light. But it's also quite a bit more expensive. It's also outside in tracking. So if you buy it, you're going to be spending quite a bit more money on the custom faceplate, as well as one or two light stations for or tracking stations, because you have to set up the tracking stations. It can't just track by the room. Also, it does not come with hand controllers. So if you don't have those, and you're going to need those, you don't have to have those for iRacing unless you're wanting to place overlays on your view. That's about the only thing I ever use it for with iRacing, is to be able to move my virtual desktop around. So it's going to be $400-500 more expensive when you add up all those accessories.
How hard is it for me to switch from my big triples to a VR though?
As far as adjusting to it,
Well, as far as Windows configuration, graphics settings, grabbing the HDMI, or the DVI out of the back of the monitor and moving it to the VR. I mean, it sounds like a hassle.
well, Greg just stepped away because he had he had both setups and would switch configurations. I think he can still switch back and forth. I mean, ultimately, I think you should go with one or the other. I wouldn't be. We got another video talking about that a little bit later. So I wouldn't get it unless you were wanting to completely switch. Now you're going to get a chance to try VR out when we go to the expo, I think. But Greg, you talk about switching back and forth between triples and VR. How much of a hassle is it?
It's the INI files depending on how you run it, and you have to have a very good power source and video card to do it as well, because it's when you have that many things plugging in, like VR sucks a lot of power out of the video card when coming through the HDMI that are plugged in them, and when you have 3 monitors going as well, it does not like switching back and forth. The VR ends up not some. I had points where the VR would say it just doesn't have enough power to run it. So I don't know if that's a power source problem or the video card problem, but it wasn't. It was a hassle, and that's why I just got rid of VR.
So
Now your VR was drawing power from a wall. It was not drawing power from the HDMI.
But it was the amount of draw. I'm trying to think of how to phrase it, but like, because you have so many HDMI, like with each monitor, when you have an HDMI port plugged into it, they all draw the same amount, or put the same amount out, I guess, for each monitor. For VR, for some reason, it wanted more resources to run through
It's more of a load on the card.
Power, yeah, probably processing power. Rather
Yeah, your
than
GPU only has so much bandwidth.
Yeah,
and I guess that might be a memory thing too. Maybe it was overloaded the memory on it, but it was never smooth. It was never. I know there's a lot of programs, like third-party programs that we had out there where you could switch back and forth, and then iRacing introduced where you have the option to do monitors or VR in the when you log into the race, right? You can just click monitor VR, but it was not an easy thing. If maybe some people out there have a better solution for it, but if you have triples and you have VR, usually someone picks one. They don't try both of them all the time, unless you're using it for something else, like maybe like David, where you're maybe using VR more for like flight sims over something else.
So it just helped with my ignorance here. I mean, from a resource standpoint, I would think the triples would be more of a resource hog than VR.
It's close. It's pretty close.
Not for
because,
one port though, right, David?
Yeah. VR runs off of a USB-C. Most of the VRs have to have a USB-C connection to transmit the tracking data, and then the display port for the video output. So it's a single display port, but it is running two streams essentially, right? Because you've got two different points of view, and so it's definitely a lot. I don't think it's as much as triples, but it's close.
But the thing with triples is you have one independent for each port, whereas that one port, that display port, is basically two monitors in one display port. I think that's why it's got more resources.
Correct.
So when you get to the point where you see Will Ford from Boosted Media driving with the big screen Beyond 2 goggles, it reminds me of Geordie LaForge from Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, especially if you order the orange ones or the light white ones instead of the black ones. Or I think it was, what was it, clear, black, and orange? Actually, I don't know. It's a good option. If the 2 was out, would I've considered it? Maybe, but I'm also really happy with the light. Now, there's a couple of another feature that he mentioned is if you have the custom faceplate, you can actually flip the goggles up to look around. So you can actually have it attached, and you just flip it up and look in the room, and flip it back down, kind of like clip-on sunglasses. Pimax has a similar feature in that if you tap it twice, it switches to see-through mode, and then you can see everything in the room. And I actually use that quite a bit, if I need to reach for my phone, or I'm switching from racing to flying and I don't want to take the headset off. I can actually do that. Or if I can't find where my water bottle is, I can tap. Can't do that in the middle of a race, but yeah. I don't know if you'd want to do that. I guess on the straightaway, on triples, you can kind of get away with looking away for a second, but it's still pretty dangerous. So there's a lot of nice features on both. Since we're on the VR, let's go ahead and hit the VR trifecta. We had a video with one of the top split IRL drivers, right? Who's actually also, I think he's in the pro IndyCar league as well, and he did a video comparing 6 different tracks, 3 in the Formula Ford and 3 in the IR18 in VR and triple. And essentially, he was just about running the same lap times on both.
But what was the conclusion? The conclusion was triples.
No, that was not the conclusion.
Well, I think it was at the hobbyist level, it doesn't matter. At the pro level, I think triples was a recommendation.
He said that that's what everybody's running was triples. But if you look at the times that he was running, they were almost the same on every track. And the truth is, he's not used to VR. I bet you if he had gotten used to VR, he probably would have been cranking a little bit of times. And he also pointed out he did a really good job of saying this study is not scientific because the sample size is too low. He's the only one doing the test. He's definitely a lot more used to triples than he is to the VR. And so he pointed out his own mythology is not scientific. It's an entertaining video and they ended up really about the same. So he ultimately said that maybe for the pros in Indy, he says everybody runs triples. Definitely for the hobbyist, he says it's kind of up to the individual driver. Me, I just personally feel faster in the VR, but more than anything, I just like it better. I enjoy it. And it's also really good in flight sim. It's a huge advantage in flight sim.
Yeah, I think the time difference is negotiable. I mean, he was 0.2 on triples, 0.2 on VR. It was like a 0.20 to a 0.24. I mean, it's basically the same time.
Yeah, one of them. They actually came down to the thousandths.
Right.
Well, and some of that can be like input lag from frames per second in VR compared to monitor refresh rate too, right? Like you could be, if those aren't the same too, things like that when you're watching stuff can make little tiny differences like that too.
Yeah, but if you're trained on triples and you turn around and try to switch to VR, it may not be so great. But if you're starting from scratch and you've only been on singles, do your best to be able to try both.
Well,
Because
that's what I did, right? I
Yeah.
was single monitor to a VR and then VR to triples.
if you're already established on triples, I don't think you need to convert.
Which was faster,
change.
Greg, for you?
See, I think for me, ovals I'm faster on triples. Road courses I was faster in VR.
And when you're, especially in if you're at a place like Coda, you can actually turn your head and look at the apex when you're going around
Coda,
those triangle
Spa,
turns.
Laguna Seca, Road Atlanta.
But
Any of those ones that have blind corners, it's so much easier.
yeah, but I mean, what is your max? Your max field of view is still 180 degrees, right? I mean,
No, it's actually about 110, but you can turn your head
I think,
in the middle of the turn.
Brad, I think what
And you can turn it a little. You don't have to turn it exactly 90 degrees like if you hit the button.
I think the thing is a lot of what we do with triples is we move our heads, but we also move our eyes more on triples than we do moving our heads. Whereas VR, you get to the point where you're moving your head with your eyes more. I found my neck movements were more exaggerated than they are in triples. I found like triples that you're using your peripherals a lot more to make some decisions on triples than you are in VR.
Yeah, Boosted actually specifically pointed at that when he was reviewing the big screen. In that once you've been in VR, you're trained to turn your head, so instead of your eyes.
Which is, I mean,
I don't do that on my triples though. I use, like Greg said, peripheral vision.
Well, you'll turn your head, but there's not a whole lot of movement.
Well, you can turn your eyes.
But
whereas you can't turn your eyes in the VR because it's the quality
goes blurry.
It goes a little blurry because of the sweet spot.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is I don't see any advantage. The apex is the same whether it's in VR or if I'm on triples. If I've
can you see the corners?
Yes, if I've got I have 170 degrees of field of view, so it's easy for me to look at the apex. You know, I'm looking at it with my eyes, and I may be looking at the back. I don't know, say 10 inches of the monitor. But do you follow what I'm saying?
VR, the thing that I noticed VR made a huge difference for is Bristol. That blind spot at the left when you're going through the corners and you have the right above the A pillar where the cars disappear. You can see more in VR than you can on triples with that because of where you're sitting in this, feeling like you're sitting in the seat, and you can look to that area better. It shows there's more detail of what you're looking at with, like, you get what's on the monitor for triples, but in VR there is more, your eyes are taking in more information than what you think you are as triples. Triples, you're looking at a flat screen and your eyes are bringing it out to whatever the images are, whereas in VR there's that, it is a three-dimensional image and you feel like you're immersed in it. And I think you're just getting more information than with it.
So if I'm at Bristol and I've got the A post right here, to my left, can I turn my head like this? Am I able to see around?
Yes,
you
can duck down and you get better view.
Okay,
that's where you get the advantage, because you can, even if you're sitting in the car. Sorry, Dave, if I cut you off there. If you're sitting in the car, you can actually move your head outside the window net and be outside the car if you really wanted to. Not immersive, but it's just the way that the view goes.
There is a limit, but I also see an advantage of just the feeling of being in the car and actually having a sense of how far away the car is versus just having to adjust it. Now, I'm sure once you're on triples, you train your brain to perceive the same thing. But ultimately, I kind of agree with the conclusion of this video. You're gonna get the same times just about either way, and so it just comes down to which one do you think you're gonna like more. He definitely showed that even as a professional, going to the VR did not slow him down any. I mean, you were well within the margin of error. with every one of them. You're talking hundreds of seconds on only doing a 5 to 10 lap test.
Well, and what's his drive? Like, he's obviously a pro. But what's his driving? Like, if you got a guy like Max Verstappen who consistently can run within tenths of or hundreds of a lap time, if he did like this side by side, what would it be the same type of thing? Like, depending on your experience level, your lap time acceptability of being able to get close to the same laps every lap all the time is can be broader.
All right, well, listeners, let us know what you think. Hop on the Discord and throw in your 2 cents, but I think we need to move on. So scrolling back up, where were we? Are we on Unrivaled Control?
We're on SimSport Gadget. Yep.
Yeah, so tell us about that one, Will.
All right, so our friends at SimSport Gadget put an Instagram post up with a launch of a new product they've got, and it's a 6-inch display screen, a DDU combined with a Stream Deck mount. And this thing's beautiful. My only problem is I have the Stream Deck XL, and it would look kind of silly if they kind of designed it for that because the thing is so huge. But man, if they could do that, I would have one of these on the way like now.
I don't know. I mean, I like it, but I want my DDU centered above my wheel. I don't know. Have it over off to the side and have, RPMs, gear, and all that. I don't know. Is it distracting to have that display over there?
It's very unpractical, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
To do a traditional DDU, yes, but there's companion, like Lovely Dashboard's got a companion
Right.
app, and there's other things you can put on there.
Yeah, it doesn't just have to be DDU.
Yeah, and like with this one, it works, I think, because it's just basically a screen. You don't have the LED RPMs, you don't have the Adreno board in there with the separate LEDs, so you could run. You can run a companion app. Say you wanted to run, there's through SimHub. If you watch WEC, they've got the screen in the car that will display green, yellow, the flags. You can run that through SimHub if you want. So I think it opens up a lot of options.
Yeah, I'm a little bit weird when it comes to DDUs. I think they look amazing, and I mean, we reviewed a bunch of them that I really like. I just have a mental block of putting something in front of my screen, even though I know it's just a real life version of what's behind it, right? I still have that mental block, and I cannot do it. This is not, like Brad said, it's not, you can use for DDUs, but there's all sorts of lovely plugins and flag plugins, and I mean, SimHub's such an amazing program. You could pretty much put anything on there you wanted.
Yeah, so you talk about that. Well, this week, beginning of the week, I just for giggles, I took my DDU off and just went back to using the in-car thing. As far as the DDU on the screen, and I was like, all right, there's information that I can get from that I can't get from my DDU. But then I come to find out I've gotten so used to running like Lovely Dashboard and all of the information that I get that I can't get in the game. And I'm like, yep, DDU went right back on because there were things I was missing.
Yeah, I'll probably eventually put one on, but like I said, I've just got it. It's just me. It really is. I've just got some mental block that I cannot see at the moment putting something like that in front of my screen.
Well, do it like I do. I mean, I have a Android cell phone. I mean, it's nice and thin and small. There's a very low profile clip to slide it into, and I can see over it. I can see around it very easily.
Yeah, but then see, I tried that first, and that aggravated me because now I have 2 DDUs. I have the phone and I have the one on the screen.
You see the one on the screen,
right?
Yeah.
That bothered me even more.
Well, I mean, I'm probably weird too because I still have my guy's hands rendered in the sim, and I know a lot of people are like, "Yep." So,
how many hands do you have? You have 2.
Yep. I just never changed it, and it is never like my brain doesn't even recognize it, to be honest.
Pretty cool.
All right, Brad, this one is for you. We got a Sim Magic warning about MagLink.
Yeah, so there's been some discussion after the recent release of the Evo bases. They put this out this past week. So, important notes on using the MagLink with third-party bases. SimMagic steering wheels are not directly compatible with wireless power systems, third-party bases. So, the one of the new things that's starting to come, like, especially with the Evo, was the pass-through USB. So you've got power that's coming through. Um, the issue is with the SimMagic bases. You try to use that on a base that, say, has the SimMagic wheels. Use that on a base that is powered. Well, it's two different types of power. It's just, the issue is you end up with some risk of damaging your wheel. So they suggest strongly to make sure that you do use the MagLink. The issue is the MagLink is only compatible currently, I think, with the GT Neo. So any of your other ones will not be compatible. So the MagLink is like 20 some bucks. It's very cheap, but just, if you're, listeners, if you're going to use, the GT Neo, with, say, you're going to run it on a SemiCube, you need to use the MagLink connector, and that way you don't run the risk of damaging your wheel.
All right, Mike, build a PC in 3D.
Yeah. Whenever we put together a PC for somebody in the team, use the part picker, PCPartPicker.com, I think it is, to build up a list that not only checks compatibility, but gives you pricing and so forth, and other, smart checks. Can this stuff work together? And so now there's a new option. It's called buildcores.com. And it's very similar, but it also offers, like you say, a 3D model. So as you pick the parts, it puts them together visually into a 3D model, so you can kind of see, oh, this is how it's going to look.
This is super cool.
Yeah, I thought it was, when I saw the thumbnail, I was like, well, that's silly. And then I opened it, and yeah, this is really cool. Full 3D model of everything. And I also learned that there's like 7,000 more PC cases on the market now than when I bought mine.
7,000.
So they have some sample builds that you can kind of start with right off the front page. One of them I clicked on is called the Baller White 4K RGB build. And the pricing, $3,401.41. And it has the whole parts list here: Ryzen 7 9800X3D. Pretty cool. Buildcores.com. So I'm not going to be building a computer anytime soon, but if you are, you guys should check this out.
All right, next on the list we have the Analog's H pattern and handbrake, and it's is this an Instagram post we're looking at here?
I thought this was a great post to get a view of this equipment in action. And I love the Analog shifter. I can't tell you how much I recommend it. It's a thick metal. It's not like a thin, metal. It's super thick. The handle is beefy. It's got a little plate on the top where you can see through to the inner mechanisms. They put a little red light in there so you can kind of see the glow of it. Fantastic shifter. I have the sequential. These are out of Russia. When I paid them for it, it was PayPal, and my bank email, my PayPal receipt said it was paid in Russian rubles. They had to convert it to Russian rubles or whatever. But look, even though it was from Russia, it was quality stuff. Now this guy's got an H pattern and a handbrake, and I don't have any familiarity with those, but pretty cool.
So, looking at this video, I just want to, I know we put this up here for the script as far as on the shifter, but the amount of movement in his motion with stationary screens just looks incredibly odd because nothing is moving in the screens.
It does look a little jarring, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm just trying to, the dash never moves, nothing. I don't know from an immersion standpoint. This is my fear with, we talked before about motion. I think if you do motion, you have to do it to where everything moves.
Or you have to set the video to where the video moves with your motion.
Or something. You know what I'm saying? The two can't be disconnected.
That's what you're seeing, Brad, is what I think iRacing calls lock to the horizon. You remember my gyro view where I would change all those settings? He just got the view set where it's a stationary lock to the horizon. So that's why when you see the dash on the screen, it doesn't move at all. And so you have to flip the switch where that is moving, and I think it would work.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things where sometimes you see these and it's just like, I don't know.
I'm going to come back to that in a second. But this next one, Mike, is definitely over the top.
Yeah, 5090 graphics card is the one to get if you're doing that computer build. Well, now you have a new option from ASUS. They are offering a graphics card that contains actual gold. This luxury PC component, which features 24 karat gold plating, is on sale in the Middle East. And they show a picture here of a 5090 RTA Donald Trump style. $8,000.
I'm going to nerd out a little on you. All video cards actually have a little bit of gold in them because all your connections are gold because it's the best conductor.
That's a hard no for me.
But I guess that's all for that one. Next, we have a really nice 3D model for a computer case. Is that what I'm looking at here?
Yeah, it's an ITX
not a model.
Corsair put out. It's not a model. It's inside a Pirelli wheel, a P0 wheel, and it's fully water cooled with an ITX build. And if you scroll through the pictures, you can kind of see a little bit of the parts. When during the pandemic, when I was at home a lot, obviously, a bunch of YouTube, and I actually found a couple of YouTube channels that had people that would build unique water cooled builds like this, and this is one of the best I've seen. I'd put it on my wall for sure.
Yeah, if I hit the lottery, this will be a sign.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, look, Corsair has put this out, and they say fan of motorsport or sim racing, check out this ITX setup.
It's been like this. Like I've been following some of these sites where these custom PC box builds. Where I saw one where a guy, they built one that looked like a garage where it had like lifts inside of it, and then they'd be parked on top of the graphics card and with a car and stuff like that. Like there's some of these things are so, like, the ideas that people come up with are crazy.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel out there called Designs by IFR. If you're into unique computer builds, he does a lot of water cooled builds. I think he's Australian. Like I said, I found him during the pandemic, but if you're interested in that, I mean, it's kind of cool. These people are much more creative than I am.
Yeah, I tried to get a look with mine, and I ended up going all white. That was the look I went with. And then I thought about, I'm going to get a white stormtrooper from Star Wars and put in there and do this and that and get maybe a Star Wars sticker or something. But I ended up not doing it. I guess I'm not creative enough.
All right, I didn't know they went anywhere, but apparently Grey Wolf Technologies is coming back on May 15th.
I think it's just a new batch, David, of their wheel from Grey Wolf Technology. This one, look, it's got that look to it like a lot of the wheels do, but the front housing, I guess you would say, it's got the real plasticky look instead of the carbon fiber, and that's really kind of throwing me off on this wheel. And I don't know how wide it is, but it doesn't look 300.
It looks real boxy. Like it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, the dimensions just don't look rectangle enough. It looks
Yeah,
very
looks
square.
very square, way too square, in my opinion. And yeah, it does look very plasticky. It looks. They've got some pictures on their Instagram that show it in the dark, all lit up, and it does look a lot better. But yeah, it's just way too square for me.
Anybody want to take a guess on the price?
Haven't even looked.
€1,200.
2,500.
Oh my
What?
god!
Especially for that plastic look, that's
Yeah, no, thank you.
overpriced.
Yeah,
gonna say-
Italian craftsmanship, unmatched performance. So 22.49 euro to 24.99 euro.
Ooh,
280 millimeters, Mike. Itty bitty.
and small and square.
Yeah, we can just put that one back in the bag and ship it back. Next up is the BDH H1SQ shifter, and say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, and look, they have them available now, black or silver. So, and I think if you get them through Podium, one out of Nashville, there's a black with red trim. They have some kind of special one.
Yeah, it's their special one with a special price tag.
Yeah. So, but I mean, this is the H pattern and sequential all built into one. But yeah, just way too expensive.
Yeah, teammate Brian McCubbin has one of these, and he not the one that's both. He has the H pattern only. But yeah, I mean, this shifter has long been considered one of the best shifters in the business. It's big though. You got to have a lot of room for it.
All right, before we hit the next option, Brad, did you see the post I typed in the chat?
Yeah, I saw it.
What there are, according to ChatGPT, there are some settings that you can change where the camera will actually move within within the monitor to match what your motion rig is doing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like I said, it's just that looking at that video, it's like I just don't see how you get the immersion out of that when everything on the screen is locked and I'm bouncing all over the place, but nothing else is moving.
Refresh my memory when we go to the expo. I want to see if any of the guys who have a motion rig with stationary monitors can try these settings, and it'd be really nice to see it in effect. Or if there's a listener that already uses it, let us know on the Discord.
Well, I know iRacing has the setting both ways, for sure. Now, that video we just watched, though, with that motion rig, that was Rally. That was some Rally game. It wasn't iRacing. And I'm guessing that Rally game doesn't even have the option, would be my guess.
It didn't look realistic at all. It looked like an arcade game. The way the video and the physics of it looked. All right. SemuCube is now offering a pre-owned option. And it's cool. They're excited to announce the launch of the SemuCube pre-owned, which is a selection of high-quality gear that makes it easier to build or upgrade your sim racing setup. Every item is individually checked, tested, and comes with a 2-year warranty. They see this as a way to help out people on a budget and also help out the environment a little. It's better for this to end up being used again instead of in a landfill somewhere. Instrument shops do something a lot like this as well. I actually just bought an A clarinet completely refurbished, and it's actually all the way from 1933. So, yeah, this is a good option, and something that I might even consider doing if my Fanatec dies.
Oh, there's a catch, though.
Yep.
Available in the EU.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's probably tariff related.
could be.
Maybe it gets expanded in the future. Well, like I said, it's a
If
great way to get what, in my opinion, is the best base on the market. So hopefully it over the year, maybe next year, whatever, it expands.
If not, we know a few guys in the EU or adjacent to the EU, at least over in the UK.
So, for me, when I saw this, I didn't know it was EU only, but I was like, man, It's been almost 60 days since I bought that Moza M booster brake pedal, and they haven't even told me it's shipped. They won't communicate. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to ask for my money back if it gets past 60 days. And I'm going to buy me one of these pre-owned, active pedals from SimiCube. But then I started thinking, man, that's a lot of money to buy something that's not new. And that bugs me a little bit to spend that much money and it's used. I don't know why.
Is it the same price tag?
No, I mean it's probably going to be cheaper, but I mean, what's the problem? I mean, do you have a problem buying something secondhand? I mean that's how. I mean, my my Hussenfeld's Ultimates, they're used. I have no issue with it because they're built to last forever, and I get them cheaper than buying the new ones.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a little bit of a hang up, but yeah, I assume there's some discount built in there to get a used one over a new one. But yeah,
Yeah, I would send like one more email to Moses saying, "Hey, you're about to lose a customer."
I don't even know if I can get my money back. It's
You
like
can contact your credit card company and say that they're defrauding you by not shipping you an
never
item.
shipped the product, right? Yeah. Look, I'm not in a big hurry. I can wait longer, but it'd be nice to have good communication. Hey, we're still building it. If they just told me that, hey, it's in production, they're working on them. Nothing. I got nothing.
Well, speaking of Moza, we've got the Moza EZ ES customizable wheel.
Yeah, from Rogue Racing Designs, they have some rims, and so they call it the F1 model. Now comes in an open top and an open bottom, fully open configurations, just like the Rogue Edition lineup. So these are just wheel rims that you can bolt to a button box, or maybe bolt straight to a quick release.
I'm on the website. It's interesting. You can go in here and pick your colors for your for the plate. It's 3D. You can kind of model it and see what it looks like. It's interesting.
You pick so you buy the Moza ES button box, right? And then you go to this business and order the rim to go with it.
So which one do you get first? Which one do you get in less than 60 days?
That's not coming from Moza though.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a third party.
I'm talking about the button box that you would order from Moza. Or do they sell the button box too?
Look, I don't think they have a problem shipping anything else.
All right, Mike, this is probably something you might get since you wear the seatbelts. You can now get a window net.
Not just a window net, but a white window net. Pretty cool looking. We've seen window nets from MakeSim_info before, but now he's got white ones.
The question is, does iRacing come with the ability to disable the in-game window net? Because I know otherwise that would drive Brad nuts.
It would if I had two window nuts. That would drive me crazy.
I have no desire to have a window net like this. I just don't.
Well, you don't need one. You've got your belt, so there's no chance of you falling out.
Right. I like the idea of putting your hand up out the window net, kind of get the air into the car. And I'll tell you the truth, I've stuck my hand up like I've done that before, but just in pretend.
Is that to when this wind simulator's going to try and direct some air in for you?
Right.
Stop it, Greg.
Yeah, you need to put a pause button on that, Greg. Tell us about the pause button, Brad.
Just had a YouTube post here from Boosted Media. Apparently, they were working on a review of the VRS DFP1, DFP15, and the wheel. That's the 15 DF P15 wheelbase along with the R295 wheel. But they put it on hold. Apparently, they ran into some firmware software issue that's rendered their samples inoperable, and they need to properly investigate in order to provide a fix for it. So it's weird because there have been a lot of reviews out on this base and the rim, the wheel that I've seen. It's interesting that they had an issue. So that's interesting.
Reading further on that post, it sounded like it was USB power problems, like it wasn't powering up everything right.
That sounds more than a firmware issue. I mean, again, if you're producing these and you're sending them out to multiple reviewers and influencers, if it's a firmware issue, I would think that everybody would have the same issue.
That's a good point. I mean, Will might just be trying to be nice, but boy, what a nightmare for a company to send out a product, like you said, for review and it to not work. You want these things to be bulletproof.
Well, he's had it happen before, but typically, I don't remember him doing this. I've heard him say in the past that, we started to review this and we ran into some issues, so we waited, and he's announced that when he's actually doing the review. But I can't remember him actually saying, "Hey, we started a review, but we can't do it."
It's a huge red flag for me. So now VRS has this red flag next to him for me for a while to see how this plays out. I'm going to wait and see, how the review comes out when the video comes out. What is VRS going to do? Is it going to send him a new sample or what? Okay, let's jump to results then. Friday Open, NIS, Kansas, Chris Waldron, P12. I could not find speed and rode around in the upper 20s. Late caution, saving a set of tires, and short run adjustments put me P12 on the finish. Brad, P13.
Yeah. So in fact, the Wednesday night race I got wrecked out of on like lap 3. So this is my only shot. Started 16th. I worked my way up to the front. Typical Kansas guys, just very aggressive on restarts. Had a guy take us 3 wide, and me trying to make sure I gave the guy. I got stuck in the middle, making sure I gave the guy to my outside a little bit of room coming off the corner because I expected him to be. I was afraid to bounce off the wall, to be honest with you. I moved to the left a little bit and came across the nose of somebody else and spun myself out. So whatever. He yelled at me, but I didn't care. But again, with this being my only shot, ended up driving I overdrove the car, just trying to get back to the front. Super sloppy. Would make progress and then get, super aggressive getting into 3 and, trying to get by somebody and end up scraping the wall and then lose a position or 2. Ended up getting back up to 13th, but, just reminded me that even when you get put in a bad spot, you just got to run your race and don't overdo it. I think if I had just calmed down a little bit, got back into a groove, and probably would have done better. But, it was one of those, I just felt like it was a do or die situation that if I don't race and get back up to the front, something bad's going to happen. So just a frustrating night.
All right. And then Sunday Open, Kansas, John Curley, P5. Well, 10 cautions was a bit much. I tried my best to stay out of them, but ended up with 10X. Ran around P20 most of the race, but thanks to attrition and pit stop adjustments, I got faster as the race went on. We had 3 green-white checkers, and P14 the first one, P10 the second, and P8 the third one. Made it up to P5. To be honest, 2 more laps, I probably would have won this thing. Kansas is one of my favorite tracks, and I was very happy with my finish. Sunday fixed, Kansas, I ran P15. Started 9th, got to the lead by lap 28, ended up leading the most laps. I was in control of the race. I got dumped from behind at one point by a guy, which put me back. I got cleared back up to 3rd for the final restarts, but it didn't go my way, and I ended up getting wrecked P15. But man, I came away from that race, guys, confident. I mean, I led the most laps. I controlled the race through green flag pit stops. I mean, I was the guy to beat until I got hit. But that felt pretty good. All right, moving on to other racing FIA F4 Americas. Kyle Pendergraft, P11. Started P6, got into early trouble lap 1, had to pit for repairs, but kept it on the lead lap. IMSA, David Hall, P3. He walked away. Brad, IMSA.
Yeah, super frustrating week. 3 races, and I haven't finished a single one of them. So, first race, took myself out. Made it, was coming into the pits, and it's an awkward pit road to begin with, and I was just getting super aggressive trying to make up time. And right as I got down to the bottom of the hill and started to turn into pit road to the right, I just lost the car and stuffed it in the wall and had like 10 minutes of damage. I just couldn't believe it. Second race got dropped before the start, so I don't know what happened. Just everything's fine. Connection just starts to tank as we're sitting on the grid, and ended up reloading the sim, get back in. Of course, the race has already started. I'm a couple laps down, roll out onto the track, and I got no force feedback whatsoever, just none. So couldn't get force feedback. When I went into the pit, I towed, trying to get the force feedback to come back on, nothing. Just super frustrated. And then last night, third race, we're 8 minutes into the race, and about that time, the first round of GTP start to catch us, and got the guy that's behind me, GT3 behind me, and first GTP goes by, second one goes by, and he decides, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and go with the GTP, and we're 3 wide into turn 1, just 8 minutes into the race. Stupid. He hits me, wrecks me, get going again, coming through the S's, and an LMP2 driver just decides that, he's got to pass me in the S's, which I'm okay with. But, when he apologized, but, he said, as he said, I thought I would clear you before the apex. Well, no, you're not going to clear me before the apex when we're both side by side coming to the apex. So I guess I should have hit the brakes, and, it's my, I guess I should have been the guy to get the corner up, but just a super frustrating week. I'm not very good at this track. I don't know why. I've never been good at this track. I went into it with the mindset, I'm going to have a good week here. And at the end of the week, I'm not touching it again because I've currently donated 263 in iRating. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, it sucks.
Sometimes when the force feedback stops, for me, it's the Marvin's AIRA app, and there's a little drop down across the top, and you have to pick your wheelbase. Sometimes that goes blank, and that messes it up.
I couldn't get to it, and I was, it's just, I was so frustrated at that point that I probably could have taken my wife was like, I'm going to take the rig and I'm going to throw it outside. And I was like, well, I'll probably help you. That's how frustrated I am.
So, Jared, read mine?
No, you're next. David Hall, P3.
Yeah, I had 1 P3 as well as a lot of poor finishes. Most of them were actually due to lap 1 heroes. Like twice, the leader spun. The GTP leader, post leader, spun on his own going around turn 1. And there's a lot of the GTPs just they're like, I'm going to win now on lap 1 with the cold tires. And then I had one GT3 that definitely doesn't like you passing on the S's. So I pass him on the outside of the first turn after we go around turn 3, which is right. I'm on his outside, but I'm not clear to the next apex. But he just pretends I'm not there and turns all the way down to the apex and just completely wipes me out. And that's okay. He's apparently allowed to do that because he's entitled to the racing line, even if the car is already there. And I was one of the reasons I didn't clear him is because I was slowing up enough so that I wouldn't wash up into him if we went through the corner side by side. Because I am not required to give him the best racing line. I'm just required not to hit him.
So you protested it, and it was just a racing incident?
Yeah. He didn't say mean words, so it's okay.
Yeah, if he said bad words, well, he'd be done, wouldn't he? All right. William, Porsche Cup fix, P17.
Yeah, so I haven't really raced the Porsche Cup since like 3 months on service, so maybe a year. But the guys at Grassroots did some hosted, and we had so much fun with that. They were like, "Hey, why don't we crash a official because we should all split together?" Well, when you load into that official and you see Gustavo Ariel and Olivier Pitek in there, your immediate thought is, "Well, I just hope I don't finish last." Um, Top split, 2 professional drivers in there, and there was a couple more. The racing was great. This was at Daytona. The racing was fantastic. Any other split going into turn one, there's going to be a pileup because there's cars 6 wide. It looked like. I mean, I'm near the back, obviously, but right in front of me, cars 6 wide everywhere, and somehow everyone made it through. I raced around 14th, 15th, 16th. We had some great racing, especially towards the end. Unfortunately, with about 2 to go, I locked the tires going into the bus stop and just kind of bailed out to not hit anybody in front of me. I was able to get back up to those 3 guys towards the end, but couldn't make the positions back up. P17, great fun.
I should try that car. I still haven't tried it yet.
A lot of fun. You should definitely try it.
Just be prepared to be humbled very quickly.
Very quickly.
All right, Friday night, I tried the Indy 500 fix. Started 10th, lap 1, turn 3. I was a bit slow going through the corner because there were 2, 3 wide in front of me, and there's a lot of dirty air, and I was washing up towards the wall. And the guy behind me just ran right over me. I mean, I don't know. Was I too slow checking up? Did he not see that everyone ahead of me? I don't know. He just ran over me. I got sent down to the inside, got it to pit. It was too much damage. We're done. I was dead last. Embarrassed by that, too. I was totally embarrassed. Grassroots Racing, MX5 League, William.
Yeah, so the notes I put on the sheet is P whatever, it rained, I died. But that's about how it went. I've never driven this car in the rain. Practice was dry. We saw on the radar there was the smallest blue blip of rain I've ever seen in my life on the radar that was going to come over. Took a chance and started on dries, and it was just the wrong call. Made it about 3 laps in, spun the car twice, and gave up.
Dead. Okay, and then GT3 League, P3.
Yeah, GT3 League. So, sorry, this was at Laguna Seca. So was the MX5 race. Yeah, P3. So practice the night before, practice the day of qualifying. I thought I was going to be in trouble because I just felt like I didn't have speed. But for whatever reason, man, I had some pace on the race. Fastest lap of the race. Going into turn 1 on the start, somebody missed their braking point, and a couple of us got pushed outside. So unfortunately, I lost a few spots. In that turn, after starting P6, I think I dropped to 11th and had to fight my way back through the field. I wish I had been able to keep up with the leaders, though, because I think I had something for them. But podium, I'll take that any day of the week.
All right. And then I've been doing the series challenge. Remember Robbie Swan? He won every race in every series on iRacing. Well, the website is challenge.duncanwatts.com, and I got that baby bookmarked and open all the time. And look, first of all, I recommend it because it's a great visual representation of just what I said, every series in iRacing and what finish you've had in it. And so my challenge, my personal challenge, is to at least get a start in every series that I own, every vehicle that I own. And so this last week, I've been going through it hard and heavy. So I'm going to read off some of my races here. First, the Pro 2 off-road truck at Firebird fixed. It didn't go official, but I finished P2. Then the Motorsport UK FF 1600 Trophy by Thrustmaster at Snetterton. Started at 6 out of 8, ended up finishing P3 after a very intense battle. Then the Rallycross series at Daytona started second, finished P4. Then the SK Modified at Concord in the weekly fixed. Qualified 9th out of 14, finished P5, lost 9 I rating. Then I ran the open version of that series, 4th out of 11, running a fixed set, finished P2 by surviving some carnage at the beginning. gained 34 rating. Super fun track combo. Highly recommend that. That was fun. Then NASCAR Tour Modified Series at Langley ran as high as P2, got hit and put to the back, but ended up finishing P4. Then the fixed version of the same series qualified 5th out of 12. Swung out by myself on lap 1 and got involved in some other incidents and finished P9. Then I switched to VRS GP Sprint Series at Le Mans, qualified 17th out of 28. 20th after spinning on my own and fell into dead last, and then worked my way back up. Radical SR8 at Old Charlotte Oval, 53 car. That was hosted, by the way. 53 cars. I qualified 16th, finished 7th. Super fun. Back to my challenge. I ran the Junior Open Wheel Oval Challenge at IRP. Indy Pro 2000 PM18, qualified 5th out of 10th, finished P6. Then Dirt Car 360 Sprint Car Series at Eldora. I think I wrecked out. Super Late Model Series at North Wilkesboro. Started 5th, finished 4th, lost 21 rating. Super Late Model Series Fixed at Wilkesboro. Started 5th out of 6, got as high as P2. Ended up finishing P3 with a loss of 14 rating. Almost there. Dirt Car UMP Modified Series Fixed at Lanier. Finished P4 out of 11. Dirt Car 360 Sprint Car Fixed at Eldora. Qualified 8th out of 11, finished 8th. And then finally, Dirt Car UMP Modified Series at Lanier. Started 16th out of 16, finished P7.
So, all right, the super late models. So, the field was 6 cars.
Yes.
Wow, that's a struggling series.
And look, I'm in there like, oh my God, I don't want to give up my oval I rating. Okay. Because some of these are affecting my oval I rating. And when there's 6 cars, you're thinking, okay, I got to finish second or third or first to not lose rating. But I finished 3rd and still lost 14 rating. That's why I took note of that, so we could talk about that a little bit. But look, guys, this has been a breath of fresh air. I get so hung up in my normal series, and try something new, man. Step out of your comfort zone. Tell you what, me getting in the dirt car, that's out of my comfort zone. I have no idea how to drive dirt. I'm getting better. All right, let's move on to final thoughts. Brad Rent.
I've enjoyed taking a break from NIS this week, although I didn't find any comfort or decent results with IMSA at Road Atlanta. But next week we've got the longest race of the year coming up, so it'll be the Coke 600 full distance. That's going to be too grueling. I'll get the Wednesday and the Friday in. There's 2 very long races, so didn't finish either one of these last year that I did. Ran good. Mike and I think you and I were running very competitive in one of them. I ended up getting wrecked, but definitely want to get a good finish. It's one of the crown jewels, I would say, and on the NIS calendar. I look forward to this one every year. So looking to get a better result. Really frustrated with the last 2 weeks at NIS between Texas and Kansas. Really, Kansas felt like I had a lot more speed and just didn't get the results that I wanted. But yeah, looking forward to get back in the swing next week, and then it's every single week from here till November. So it's going to be a grind. But looking forward to it.
Yeah, I kind of like the off week as well. David Hall, final thought.
I'm tired of getting wrecked every other IMSA race. I sent in that protest, and they send you this same email every time that they turn it down, that there's plenty of other opportunities to race, but when you're getting taken out every other race and they won't do shit about it, it starts to wear you down. So I'm starting to get a little irritated with that. That's about all I got today.
All right, Greg Hectus, final thought.
I didn't put my thing down. I did race one of the fixed indies on Saturday morning, I think it was. Anyways, I wrecked out on a green flag pit stop because I forgot that when cars disappear in front of you going down pit road, you should probably change the balance going into the corner for the weight jacker. I went into the next corner, I got loose, and then by the time I was exiting the corner, I was completely gone, and I just hit the wall, but it DNF'd me. That was the first time I think I've ever had a DNF, like unfixable car. So yeah, I wrecked out of that. That wasn't a bright spot in me, but looking forward to a long race for next weekend because I'm off next weekend. I am also in the market of I'm looking into direct drive wheels right now and or bases and coming up with some ideas here to upgrade my setup here coming forward.
Ooh. And then Brad, you laid a nugget on Greg. Tell everyone what you said today about what you thought about buying which wheelbase.
Oh well, he had asked in the chat, where's the kind of the sweet spot. And I think like 15 to 18 newton meters for most people is probably the sweet spot. I've got the SimMagic Alpha, and I've been very happy with it. Don't get me wrong, but knowing a lot more now than what I did when I bought this, coming up on 2 years ago. In hindsight, I probably would have gone with a higher newton meter. Probably would have gone with the SimiCube 2 Pro. Just I don't think you'll ever need, the 20, 25 newton meters.
Okay.
But with the overhead that you've got, the fidelity I think is a lot better. And I'll be honest, I'm getting a little concerned with the SimMagic. They released the Evo, and I believe there's probably going to be another higher end base coming out at some point. My concern is going to be what's going to happen if they'll still support these. The original, the M10, they ended up stop supporting. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been toying with the idea of probably moving to the SimiCube at some point. Haven't told the wife that, so that'll be a discussion for.
It's been Brad's
Right.
money.
You just did. You just
He knows
did.
now.
All right.
Hi, Brad's wife.
Here's what I have to say about that. Here, let's think about this about Newton meters. Let's think about speakers. Okay, right? Do you usually ever want your speakers to be pushing the maximum volume? What happens to the sound once you hit the maximum volume?
I agreed. But again,
Short.
it's what did you say, Mike? You say the torque?
Distortion.
Yeah, it distorts it. So, but again, the headroom there, I think time and time again shows to be a benefit in a wheelbase. So, yeah,
I think it's just like speakers. You're going to be better off if you have too much power.
Yes.
Than if you have just enough power, because if you're putting your speakers at their max volume, they're going to sound bad.
And as I quoted, famously by Mike Ellis, buy once, cry once. That's the philosophy that you have to use.
That's right. All right, William Westbrook, final thought.
So Brad, we need to get you on one more split, just so we can either get you a good finish at the best track on the service, or you can take a couple of my competition out and I can get a decent finish. Either one, I'm happy with. But yeah, we'll have to crash one.
Let me know.
There's a race in less than an hour.
There is.
Too late for me.
But yeah, no, I am having a great time running the league. I haven't done much officials this season, which is kind of starting to concern me. I need to get back on it, but just haven't been doing it. But with Road Atlanta this week, like I said, I live 30 minutes from the track, so I'm very biased on how good that track is. So I haven't done anything yet, but about to go. I probably will actually go do that one in a little bit, and then we're doing the one of my friends from Grassroots. We're gonna do the 3 hour tomorrow night as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. I know last week I said I was kind of done with endurance racing for a minute after getting crashed out on the 11th hour of a 12-hour race, but I can't stay away from Road Atlanta.
You're like a drug addict.
Yep.
Okay, and then my final thought, like I said, I'm having fun with the series challenge. I got it up on the screen now, but I finished the rookie series completely, a start in every series. I finished the D series. I have one left in the C series to do, the Pro 2 Off-Road Series fix. And then C is done, and now I'm working on B class. And so, and A. So I started doing B and A last night. I'm going to have to run an IMSA race. I'm going to have to run, Xfinity B car. I haven't run the Xfinity B car in forever. And so probably going to hit those up maybe even tonight. But look, by the recording next week, I think I'm actually going to have a start in every series. That's the goal. And once I get to that point, I think the next goal is try to podium in every series. I don't think it's possible, especially on the dirt side, but maybe I'll just try to podium in all the oval stuff or the road stuff. I don't know, but it's been a blast. I definitely recommend it. And with that, hey, we'll see you on the track later. Okay, title ideas. We have 3. I like 1 or 3.
Number 1.
I only like 3 because Mike Bagley, but
There you go. Come on, Mike. Throw it in Chat GTP. Get us an image.
Look, Milk Bagley. I mean, it is May, with the Indy 500. So
1.
vote. We have 2 1s. Vote. Okay, 1 it is. Good show, guys.
Yes.
I'm gonna get some food. See y'all.
Bye.